This tutorial will show you how to create the upper die center for the button maker project for Project Lead the Way. I'm given some cutaway here, some section views of this, so that tells me that I'm probably going to want to use a revolve to make this. I also have this counterbore hole here in the center that I'm not going to worry about right now. Also this hole here, we're going to do those later. So I just need to take this section view as if this has not been cut out. And I'm going ahead and build it. I'm going to build it like this up here because this matches up with this section view, and I think it's a little less confusing to draw it this way than it is to draw it this way and have to think about this in reverse. So my first step will be to create a section view that will revolve of this part. So I'm going to come into Inventor, I'll create a new sketch, and I'll go ahead and build it on the YZ plane. And I'm going to begin just by trying to roughly sketch out this. So I'll start in this corner here. There's a square. Comes up. At some point it comes out a little bit at a 90-degree angle, moves a little bit past the edge, and then there's some angle here back to there. Now I'm given the overall dimensions right here. The diameter of the smaller part of the cylinder is 2.0625 and the larger part is 2.1875. First off, Inventor defaults to just 3 decimal places in its precision, at least when it tells you what the dimension is. So if I come here to Tools and choose Document Settings and go into Units, I can change the display precision to 0.1234. It still is modeling the parts to 4 decimal places, but it's just showing you when you dimension it only to 3, so it rounds up. And so this way, when I apply this, it'll make sure that these dimensions are accurate to what I'm seeing on here. Now I also have to keep in mind that this dimension here is for the entire diameter from one side to the other, and I'm only drawing half of this cylinder so that I can revolve it. So I want to take both of these numbers and divide them by 2. So the distance from the center to this edge here is 2.0625 divided by 2. And the diameter of this larger part of the cylinder is 2.1875 divided by 2. And those should be the only dimensions I have to have. The other ones are depth dimensions, which I'm not cutting in half. So the overall dimension from this distance to this one is 0.75. From the corner here to this is 0.3125. I'm told the distance from the end of that slope to here is 0.125, and the diameter from here to this end is 0.156. So I believe that should give me everything I need to dimension this. So I'm going to finish that sketch now, and now I want to revolve it. It already found the profile, it's looking for the axis, and I want it to revolve around that axis. And when I click OK, I have most of the shape. Now I have 2 more things that I need to add. The first one is I have a counterbore right in the center, and I created a new sketch on this surface, and I will create a point right there in the center, because then I can use my hole feature here to create a counterbore. There's my counterbore. The information I'm given on the counterbore is always, it feels like it's always the opposite of the way you type it into Inventor. So this tells me it's a counterbore. This is the diameter of the counterbore and the depth of the counterbore, and then everything above it is the rest of the hole. And when in doubt, just recognize that this diameter is smaller than this diameter, so this has to be the larger part of the hole. And I'm given here a diameter of 0.4375 and a depth of 0.3125. The rest of the hole is a through, so make sure that the termination is through all, and it has a diameter of 0.25, and that gives me that part of the hole. And then on the back, there is another hole, and it is, if we can see here, it's a little hard to tell, it is along that vertical axis, and it is 0.5 from the center. So I'm just going to create another point here. Oops, I didn't mean to exit out of the sketch. I'm going to press D for our diameter and choose from the center to the point I've created, and that is 0.5 in distance. And now when I finish the sketch, I can go back to hole. Now this hole is unique. I'm going to go back to my drilled hole here. I'm not given regular dimensions. I'm given a thread specification. This is an 832 UNC. If I look at a tap chart for UNC and UNF threads, this tells me that the hole has a thread in it for a screw. If I look at 832 right here, UNC, I can see that its basic major diameter is 0.164. And that's how I can find it in my hole feature. So I come here to hole, and here at the bottom is a tapped hole. If I checkbox that, I get a whole bunch more options to create a tapped hole. And when I choose size, I'm going to find that 0.164. And under designation, it's the 832 UNC. And that gives you the diameter and all of the thread specifications that are necessary. All I have to do is put in that it isn't actually a through hole, it only has a depth of 0.5. And so I want to make sure that the termination is a distance instead of a through, and that it's a 0.5. And you will see if you zoom in on this, it creates it's not a real thread on here, an actual three-dimensional thread, it's just a two-dimensional thread. But if I dimension this in my drawing, it will give me that correct thread specification. And so now I can double check this. Everything looks correct. That should be how we create the upper die center.